What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flocka with a convict's perspective, man. As you already know, I'm gonna smash, dash, and slide on through with that little bit of energy. Now, before we start this, I got a special guest, a former correctional officer, man. This is gonna be a good one, man. What's the name of your new channel, brother?
It's called Time Served. I ain't got nothing uploaded on there.
He's gonna get to
So
it though, man. This guy
I'm
got
going to get this content on there. If you guys got any questions, anything you want me to talk about, man, I'm making my rounds, bro. I got a story to tell. You guys can hit me up on Instagram, kc.frenchies.fam number 3. Again, kc.frenchies.fam number 3. Hit me up, send me a DM. You guys want me to talk about something? You guys are curious, man. I got a lot of stories to tell, man, all day.
Yeah, he ain't afraid to tell, man. You know what I mean? And he's gonna get straight to it. So tell people a little history about how you became a correctional officer and stuff.
Basically, man, I grew up in a little town, man, Delano, California. Yeah. Graduated high school, went to the Marine Corps, did 4 years, 2 tours, and somehow I ended up in corrections, man. You know, November 1997, started my career.
So were you ever involved in any type of gangs out there? I mean, it's kind of hard not to if you lived in Delano, right?
Nah. Like about 1989, that's when Westside Delano started, and that was actually by my cousin. He's one of the founding fathers of Westside Delano, and that's when the gangbanging started kicking in. Everybody started making their own cliques, but I wasn't really part of that, man. I was doing my own thing. You know, I was trying to leave that town as soon as I graduated and so on.
Growing up in those small towns out there, people don't realize like just what happened in Goshen recently. There's a lot of fucking crime out there in those areas, man. That it's just unthinkable, man.
Yeah, man. You know what it is because a lot of that meth, man, got people like tweaking and doing some crazy shit, man. You know, once that meth and crystal ice hit, man, you had people that, you know, were just doing some wild shit off being paranoid.
Yeah. So you hit the system. Where'd you start your correctional career at, man?
I was basically at North Kern State Prison the whole time.
Okay, the whole time?
97. Yeah, 23 years.
So you got to see all that. That was our reception center for a minute, though.
Yeah, I seen when you guys were with the Maravillas. They put you guys with the Maravillas.
Yeah,
I was there when they get.
I brought that up in an episode that we were with them at one time, and people didn't believe that.
No, it's the truth. It was true. I read a few kites because the Maravillas at the time had a green light. Yeah. So they couldn't be with the GPs. So they had their own building. And then when the Northerners came in, they had them sharing a building.
How long did that last for?
Lasted for a few months. There was no issues with them. I read a filter that basically said, like, you know, let the Maravillas do their own thing. You know, like we have no problems with them. Yada yada.
So you did a lot of time, you know, as a correctional officer amongst Norteños, right?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in their buildings, man. It was interesting, man. Damn. Now I know why a lot of them drop out.
Who had the strictest program?
The Northerners. The Northerners had imagine yourself being a gang member on the street and like going to prison, and you're just all of a sudden you're training like the Marines or something. I mean, I give it to those Northerners that are on like level 4 yards, because if you're still there GP on a level 4 yard, like you're like the elite of the elite.
Yeah, because you're outnumbered too.
Yeah, and you're there still like frontlining. You know what I mean? And I give it to them. You know,
I mean, people don't realize that a lot of the reasons why we function the way that we function was because we were less numbers. This is how we were able to secure ourselves.
Yeah. No, it was a trip, man. It was a trip. Those Northerners, like, day in and day out, like just to see them, like it was a trip. It like would trip me out all the time. Like it got to the point where I would just like, I just got used to it when I worked there for so many years.
So did you ever what was the most craziest thing that you had to experience or like had to intervene on when you were in prison? Like any major
I've seen a lot that I had to intervene on personally. Yeah, man. In front of me, I can't really say a lot because like a lot of the times I ran a program where it was, you know, I was real respectful to everybody. I let them know. Other than that, it was just mainly a lot of staff assaults. You know, riots, they usually hold off, or, you know, if they would kick it off, you know, it would happen so quick. It's like a blur sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't exactly, you know, remember everything because everything's going. You know, it could be on the left side under the stairwell, on the other side. You know, it's all over the place.
Was there any big riots you had to you seen?
Yeah, I seen. There was one. I remember it was like Baker 5, and it was the Woods and the White Boys. Oh, not the White Boys, excuse me. The White Boys and the Southsiders. So the Southsiders were taxing the White Boys on tobacco or something. And there was some like old school level 4 White Boys in there, and they weren't having it. And they ended up like taking off on the Southsiders. And
this must have been around what, 2005 to 7, around that years?
Oh, no. It had to be about 2000, 2001, because I remember the friend that I responded with that like he left after that, but he was one of the people that I responded with, that I remember the mess. It was like a responding, and it was just like blood everywhere. And the White Boys really, the White Boys handled their business.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they handled it. And it was over tobacco, being taxed on tobacco or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, because see, that's the thing that people don't realize, is that there was a lot of attempted oppression back in the days, like the groups that had the numbers.
Yeah,
that the Sudanese used to always try to do that towards the Northerners, like tell us, okay, you guys can't, you got to put on your shirt, so you got to do this.
Yeah. Then you couldn't walk the yard with your shirt.
And so when we would get off, right, we'd say, fuck that, we ain't doing it. And the next thing you know, they would look at us like we're the ones that were causing the problems, when all we're doing was standing up for ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that you're 100% correct, man.
You know,
you're 100%. And then there was actually at one point in like about 2010, there was like a 1-year lockdown between the blacks and the Northerners, because the Northerners' numbers got so low. So, you know, like in the day room, you know, everyone has their own tables. Well,
so it was over tables?
It was over tables in the day. Well, it started over tables. Basically, like everyone, the Northerners and the blacks, you know, in Baker 6, it's only Northerners, blacks, and others. That was it. So everybody had their own designated tables. Well, the blacks, they were outnumbering the Northerners so bad that they started overtaking the Northerner tables and sitting at them, you know, playing cards on them, and then they were, you know, try to address it, but they were ignoring it. I guess there was a dude from LA, black dude, they called him Big Country or something.
Crip or Blood?
He was a Crip. I believe he was a Crip.
Is that the same one that ended up in Pleasant Valley?
I don't know. They called him Big Country. That's all I know. They locked down the Northerners for a year because they kept going off. Every time the door was cracking, they were just like handling their business. And I wasn't there in the building at the time. I was working up front in the front entrance, Tower 1. I'll talk about that later, because, you know, we'll talk about some of the funny things that I would see, you know, what supervisors coming in and out and stuff. But I would see them, like they would just lock down for a whole year, because they couldn't come to no agreement or nothing.
Now, wasn't there 2 Sudanos that got killed by the North Daniels around like 2011?
No, not there. Oh, there was one in 2015, 16 when Soldier Boy came through, and they had 2 dudes from the res, and one was the other one claimed Southside. So they both ended up in prison, and then one tried to jump out of the Southside car and settle up with his brother, and it was like a big old mess. So they were like, well, we're brothers, you know, we're gonna run others. So he switched up, and then he made his way. They made their way to Baker 6 as others, but the dudes from Tulare County already recognized the dude, that he was a Southsider.
Okay.
So instead of taking on them 2, Soldier Boy orchestrated you know, a little thing on the yard and made it to where they attacked all the others. And it was good.
The other car or the Southside car?
No, the other's car.
Why this is Soldier Boy from Salinas, the one that got indicted with Chente, right?
Yeah, Johnny Magdaleno.
Okay.
Johnny Magdaleno. He was a sharp, tactical dude. That dude was educated. I'll give him that.
He fell out of favor and they brought him back.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. So check it out, right? 3 years later, I'm working another building, and this Compton Blood comes out. He violated parole, and he said, "Hey, remember that dude, Soldier Boy?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, I was over there in Saturday with them when they removed them." And yeah, they removed him, jumped on him, and that dude pulled out his own piece and started handling his business against the fucking torpedoes.
Oh, wow. So I'm looking at some of the questions I had ready for you. Is there any specific incident with prison corruption that you might have witnessed? Something big that made the national news outlets or could?
No, nothing. A lot of that stuff won't make, a lot of the corruption stuff won't make it on the news, man.
It never does, yeah.
They try to keep it hush and keep it low key. And it gets to the point where like nobody will talk about it, not even the supervisors.
Have you ever heard anything about like the Green Wall or anything? Is there any truth to it?
I've heard about it. I can't say there is truth or no truth because I wasn't around that.
So that's I'm the same way. Like I don't know if it was just something that was just a joke, camaraderie. I was thinking,
yeah,
and it gets out of hand, or if it was serious. You know what I mean?
Okay. No, I can't say. I mean, there's cliques. There's cliques. There's certain yards like B yard, right? Maybe B yard. So the lieutenants and the sergeants know who they want there. So like if they know that you're not gonna put in work when it's time to put in work, they're gonna try to get you off the yard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So
I can understand that though, because you want to have people that you trust on the yard when it's time to handle business, and not someone that's going to bow down, because like that's understandable. Is that you mean like? Is that like? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Is that legit business or stuff that they shouldn't be doing?
Both.
Okay. I appreciate the honesty of that. You know what I mean?
Both. It's basically like if I have a yard of 5 cops and one of them's a fucking weenie and he's fucking scared and he don't want to earn his bones, they're gonna give him a hard time and try to force him to bid out, or just give him a hard time, or give him the stupid jobs like, hey, go fucking sweep this fucking building way over there on the other side of the fucking. They'll volunteer his ass for like stupid shit just to get him out of there.
Now let me ask you this question. Being a minority, right, as a correctional officer, did you suffer any type of like a discrimination from your own coworkers?
No, not really, because
it's mainly Mexican or other minorities that are working there, huh?
Well, I mean, so like what I was told, like certain places, like certain prisons, certain races do have the numbers as far as correctional officers and staff. Like I was told, like Calipad or Centinela, you got a lot of like Hispanics and paisas and stuff.
Yeah.
To the point where like they call each other on the radio in Spanish, Mm-hmm. And then like our car, like in ours, it wasn't really like they had a car. If you were one of the kids, they called it kids. So like you were one of the kids, like you got taken care of. Like you always got hooked up with the good jobs. You weren't on the front line. You were like somewhere up front by the admin building, driving around doing like, just driving around doing nothing, getting paid to do nothing, driving around or up front, checking cars, looking under cars, or in one of the towers, or like maybe like, up in the watch office, basically being a fucking clerk or something. You weren't right there. Like, you weren't in the building. You weren't with all these fucking inmates, functioning.
Now, which groups in prison while working, did you respect? Which ones did you not?
Oh, no comment on that one, man.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to come off as,
yeah, that's a good one, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think it's
everybody knows. Everybody knows. It's not a secret. Some groups are just loose knit, and every man for his own. Like that's why I like the GP, man. GP is like, I ain't got to do nothing. They all police themselves.
True.
That's less work for me.
Now, you were there when the end of all hostilities came out and they all got to the main line?
Oh, yeah, man. I was there. I went to a GP building in like 2016, and I seen a little Mexican blood running around. And I asked the Southside porter, I go, what's up with this right here? He goes, we got to let it go. We were told to fall back. I go, so I go, so they could just come in now? He goes, I guess so. He goes, we were told to fall back. He goes, we can't handle it no more. You remember before, like I was telling on another podcast, prior to 2015, 16, like they was no the Southsiders weren't having that. So the only place they could really go, if not to the hole, they would send them with the Northerners. They would send like a Mexican Crip or a Mexican Blood with the Northerners, because the Northerners weren't tripping like that, you know. But you know, and then they would try to talk like they've been on the main line, front line, and you look them up on the file in the computer. You know, if they ended up in Centinela, like the dude was in the hole the whole time, you know, because the Southsiders were waiting for him.
Now, did you ever have a body, like a dead body on arrival that you seen or witnessed or had to see the aftermath?
Yeah. Shout out to my boy though. He's the one that had to take the body down, and he ended up busting his Achilles. Oh, so wow. If he watches this, you know, my boy's gonna laugh, but it was actually in my building, right? But it was on my days off. So I went in for overtime that night, and then I took a job in R&R, and then about midnight, I hear a code, and then it's in my building, and then the dude, yeah, he was a transient on the street, killed his celly, supposedly, allegedly raped him. I don't know how true that is.
Oh, wow.
And killed him, and they found the dead body, and yeah, one of my boys responded, and yeah, he took him out and he ripped his tendon carrying him down the stairwell.
Did they check to see if he had been, well, they probably, I guess every inmate's been anally penetrated somehow because they have to hoop stuff, so you can't really tell if they were raped or not.
Hard, well, I mean, I couldn't tell you. I know I've dealt with a lot of alleged rapes, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Did that happen on the GP or just on the SNY side?
Both.
Is that right?
Both, man. Both, yeah. I actually, like,
was it all races?
Yeah, it was all races, man. It didn't have no color line, man. It was just like
Northerners, Southerners. There was.
It was more like
non-affiliated,
like some convict or some youngster that never been to prison, or it would be like a black black homosexuals. They could still, at the time they were still running DP.
Okay.
So now you don't see it on the main line too much, you know. But back then, you know, you would see like
when I first hit it, they were still out there on the yards too. It was a trip, man.
Oh yeah, I seen Southsiders that were homosexuals, you know, running GP. You know, I used to see it all the time. Like early 2000s, I would be on the main line on A yard, and I would see like a gay ass Southsider ironing fucking his celly stuff, making sure he was taken care of. I would see all that.
Wow, I don't have to think about that. I got to be next question. Okay, so you told me a thing about a skinhead that snuck out there and pretty much put some work on some Northerners one time.
Yeah, so there was a skinhead in the hole, right? And so he was about to get kicked out. So they asked him, like, you know, you skinhead, you know, affiliation. And he was like, no, man, I'm just a regular white boy from Tulare County. It's all right. Sent him, went to committee. They sent him to the Northern building. I believe he was like in cell 220, A side top tier. And as soon as he gets there, he's with, you know, some regular white boy, you know, pulls out, you know, he had some blades. They said they were razor blades that were hooped, pulled them out, made himself a little piece, told the celly to shut the fuck up. Wow. And then waited for the fucking, his top tier had showers that day. So waited for his door to crack so he could come out. And at the time, the Northerners were so deep that they were lacking. They were just lacking. They were just being lazy. They weren't on their, you know, posts. They weren't on point because they had the numbers. They had like, it was one building. It was so big at one point, like they had the whole building, you know, maybe like 70% of the building was Northerners.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he waited for showers, and then he went downstairs, and there was one dude standing outside his showers, you know, posted up, while the other two dudes outside and two on the inside showering, pulled out his blade, and then he cut one dude in the stomach, and that dude's guts, man, were coming out. And then he went at the other dude, hit him across the face, like right here, but it wasn't even a cut. It was literally, you could see his teeth.
Oh, wow.
You could see his teeth, and then right then, all the Northerners like realized what was going on, and then after that, then it was a big old melee. But by then, you know, everybody had already came in. The cops were spraying. The gunner was shooting the block gun. So it was like a big old mess. But when he came back, like they showed pictures from the hospital. I got a hold of some pictures back then, and that dude's guts like were opened up, like they were just sticking out. Just your intestines were sticking out. He was holding them.
Now, has there ever been any other type of situation to where you're like, what the hell did I just see? Did this really happen? You know, like, you know, some J-Cat stories, some funny stories.
Oh yeah, man. I've seen like I remember one time my earlier year, I was in the SNY at the time, and there's a few stories that come to mind that I know of, but that I've seen personally. I was doing count, and I got a pretty bright flashlight, and I'm like, I'm looking at my paperwork. I'm like, oh, there should be 2 bodies in there. So I look, I only see 1 body. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I'm sticking my flashlight in there. I don't see nothing. I'm like tripping. Like, look at my paper. I'm like, there should be 2 bodies in there. So I bang on there. They're ignoring me. I'm like, man, I go by the side of the door. I'm like, hey, dude, where's the other dude at? And I go, I'm gonna have to pop this door. He goes, where's the other dude at? And I shit you not, the other dude was laid up. They were hugged up on the bottom bunk, and he fucking throws his hand out, like, I'm right here. So they were fucking hugged up, man. They were hugged up on the bottom tier, like.
And they were both like manly looking, or was one of them looking
fucking spooning and shit? Yeah, they both look like men, fucking spooning.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I was like fucking tripping, man. I was like, oh god damn, like had me. I was like, only in prison. So that's one of them. And there was another one where I grew up with a dude, right? I grew up with a dude, and he's in SNY. He transfers out, and I'm in R&R processing. He walks in and he says my first name. And I look at the dude, and this fool has fucking hickeys all over his fucking neck. Wow. And I was like, I'm not even going to say what's up to this fucking fool. Like, I just looked at him and I said, what the fuck, man? Yeah, but
we got 10 minutes left. They just gave me 10 minutes. So I got a couple simple questions. Now I want to do another one. You're good. You're good on the interview. So, why did you leave? Did you just retire? Was it that time, or?
I got caught up in a mess, someone else's mess. So I just said, it's good. I'm good. I'm gonna go get my money in 36 months. Okay. I got caught up in a mess. Yeah, I would. That's another story for another day, you know, because that story is. A lot of people are going to be waiting for that one.
You know what? You sometimes you got to tell the truth, man. Especially when there's corruption or anything that, you know, you're a voice. Sometimes, you know, like I tell people, man, I'm not anti law enforcement. I'm actually, you know, we need rules in society, rules of conduct in order to govern it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, basically,
I'm against abuses though.
Yeah. No, it was a situation where I told this youngster that I knew from the gym, like, watch who you're messing with, because these guys will burn you. And when it was all said and done, like, you know, my name got thrown in there, and, you know, I was just like, what am I going to do? I ain't going to tell on everybody. You know, that's not my character. So I just, you know, took it to the chin and kept moving, you know, but I got this platform. So one day I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to drop the truth bomb, and it's going to, and some of those people are still there at the prison, man. A lot of people are still there that shouldn't be there. You know, I'm going to say their name. Hey, Shane Jensen, you're still there because of me. Jesse Jaime, Captain Jesse Jaime, you're still there because of.
And he got receipts to cash in. You know what I mean?
So, oh yeah, I got receipts.
If anything happens because of that, guys, those receipts that are at about 10 different locations, you guys will be exposed. So.
Oh yeah. That Shane Jensen, he's like an AW dude, but he was black patches and all. But he was just, man, that dude was just as dirty as me. Dirty.
Yeah, I made about 50 copies, sent it to 50 people, what you got me in case anything happens, man. It's all good.
Nah, he was dirty, dude. Like dirtier than me. I didn't really do nothing too bad. You know what I mean? Nothing that'd get me like fired, but you know.
You favoritize any groups or anything like that, or was this more towards the other correctional officers?
I didn't favoritize anybody. It was more like how the building functioned, and I let them know what my expectations were.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Sounds fair.
That and we went from there. We went from there. Whatever my expectations were, if they didn't, do, what I had coming, as a CEO, like respecting my program, I wasn't respecting their program.
I get
so
it.
If they respected me, I respected them.
Well, he's going to start a channel, guys. So I'm going to cut this interview because they're going to cut us off at any time. So I appreciate having you on. I want to have you on maybe in a couple more days, man. And before you launch your channel, I'm going to because I think you got some good stories that we want to get to. If you guys have any questions, right, please, I'm going to put a community post probably up tomorrow. Put the questions. We're going to get to it.
Yeah.
I appreciate having you on, man.
Hey, no, it's good. They're gonna watch this video, and then I'm gonna get some more phone calls tomorrow.
It's all good. We got you covered.
Let me know when you want to run this again, man. I got tons of stories, man. I want to, like what we talked about earlier.
Most definitely. I'll give you a call tomorrow. I'm gonna run this tonight, so you're gonna see it up. I'm gonna do a premiere.
Okay, that'll work. Thank you.
All right, have a good Ace. All
right, bro. Thank you. Let me know when it's on there. I gotta shoot it out to all my people too.
Okay, most definitely. Have a good one, brother.
You too, brother.